Welcome to Deep Thought. Rebels against social programming. Rebels against social programming. It's interesting. I was actually going to call this Rebels against moral order programming. And I've talked about that 4 years ago. And instead of rehashing everything about that, look for the link in the description box. And that was a pretty good one. That was a pretty good one if I don't say so myself. Excuse my voice. It's the weather. It's the weather. Anyway, I thought about doing it because at first about just moral order programming, but if you think about it, a better term to use may be social programming. We're very much programmed in this society. I've talked about this before because if you think about it, and I talked about that in the moral order programming thing, you had like three major forces that really program you: religion, media, and the government. And the government does so through its various laws and also in how they teach you. Indeed, one of the things that's happening is you have certain groups, they're trying to take over actual school boards to control what's being taught to their children. And depending on which side, that's a good thing for those who are for that, bad thing for those who are against it. And like everything else in life, it depends on which side that you're on. I'm not going to give my thoughts on that in particular. Like I said, it's the chicken and the hen house thing. So it depends, but that's still programming. And that programming can actually come from all quarters. It's not just a right-wing thing, but also a left-wing thing. And so people constantly fighting against it, but it still come down to programming. It still come down to influencing how people are thinking. See, you have many forces out here. They don't want you to think for themselves. Like when I always use the term theys, I always say it's not necessarily some metaphysical, nefarious metaphysical group or cabal that's trying to just mind control you. It could be that advertising director with a nice office, and shoot, they might have my video on right now, thinking about, okay, how can I get people to buy this particular product? That's programming. How can I get people to think this certain way? That's programming, Or what I said in that moral order programming video, which I should really check out, I said they can have people thinking certain things like, it will go, like I used the example of Barack Obama. Like that went against many people's moral order programming, that's social programming, thinking, oh, this black man isn't that intelligent, even though he was a Harvard Law, he was in Harvard Law, and he's actually been a constitutional law professor, or he wasn't really born here. Any of the thoughts against all of that, that's not necessarily about truth, but the programming. Just about, oh, is that black man in that position? That's programming. That's programming. Why can't he run? And he won and won. But a lot of people went against that. That went against the programming. It could be someone that level, like, oh, this shouldn't happen, this shouldn't happen. Even with that thing with same-sex marriage, part of that is programming, like programming against it. Why? Because they were programmed by certain forces, particularly some religious forces, to say this is wrong. And, it's not saying whether it's right or wrong, chicken and hen house thing again, but it's the programming. Now, I talked about rebels against the programming. You know who the rebels are against any type of social programming? The rebels are not people who follow one version or the other. Those ain't rebels. Those are soldiers. The true rebel against any type of social programming, is someone who thinks for themselves. Because remember, this programming, whether it's political, whether it's that, guys in the corporate boardroom, and shoot, you can throw in like whatever sinister cabal that you want to throw in. You can throw all of that. But all of them had the same thing. They want people as a group to think a certain way. They want them to react to a certain thing. And you know, it's constant battles, but the true rebel follows his or her own path. Now, they have things that they believe, they have things that they'll stand for, they have things that they're against. The true rebel against social programming, they think for themselves. They think for themselves, and that's a danger to any type of system. It's a danger to either side. You know, right now we got this old political thing, right versus left and everything, but a true rebel is going to look at both sides and then look at what needs to be done. And they might take something from one side, take something from another side, and then go a completely different path. But they rebelling because they're not simply following. They doing whatever they do. They adapting to a policy or against it because they thought about it. You know, one of the main reasons I do this channel is for you to think about it. Just think about it. And what have I said? I've said this on my other channel, and I'll say it here. Don't believe anything I'm saying. I don't need you to believe it. I need you to check it out. I've said several times, go check it out for yourself. And see, tell me what you've seen. Go check it out. Don't reject it just because you hadn't heard it before. Check it out. Think about it. Go check it out. At least think about it. Now, if you reject it after you done checked it out and said, okay. I've actually had some guys I'm cool with. They ain't down for body game. They let me know. And I heart their comments. They just ain't down for it. But they thought about it on their own. See, that's the whole thing. Because I'm going to tell you what. Even on YouTube, that's kind of a social programming. That's a social programming. You got some content creators, do it. See, that's why I say even for myself, I encourage y'all, just check it out. Don't just take my word for it. Because I don't want a bunch of zombie followers. You know, it might be great for the ego or something, but I'm putting it out there. I want you to think about it. I want you to see, okay, how does what Uncle Rom just told me apply to myself? All right. And if it don't, that don't mean I'm wrong. It just means it don't apply to you. See, one thing about the rebel is they are self-centered. They think about themselves. You know, they ain't gonna follow just because everybody else doing something. If they do, it's only because it's in their interest. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because you need that, because that's why we have so many problems. We got people trying to say, well, you should do that, you should do that. Yeah, it's like, hold up. Who's it benefit? In the last episode, I talked about what people in the Osar set circles would call Setchian. You know, some people would call them Satanists. Yeah. But, you know, whether they worship in some metaphysical deity or they just totally self-centered, you know, part of their thing is to control the masses. And usually for their own benefit. I mean, shoot, you got billionaires doing that. But see, a true rebel is going to say, hold up. Just because this person said that, I'm not going to go for it. Or at least I'm going to take my time and study it. I'm going to see what's up with it before I make a decision that affects my livelihood and who I am. And like I said, even here on YouTube, I got to reiterate that. And especially with myself. Just because I say it don't automatically make it true. And in fact, I love it when someone co-signs something I say when they've encountered it. I get a lot of testimony. Say, yeah, I've seen this. Okay. You know, but then sometimes some people just go against it just because. It's like, well, why are you going against it? Well, everybody know. Does everybody know? Or is that your programming that says it doesn't work? Think about it. Did you try it out? Did you experiment? Did you think? And see, that's the thing. And the program, some people would say the program is necessary. In fact, those in power, the true theys, the people who run things, they would say, well, we needed to keep order. Now, if you're the fox in that case, it makes total sense. But if you're the hens, you'd be like, no. But some of the programming too is to get you to stay alone. Because the real thing that controls any society, any group of people, is not guns. It's not guns. You got to get them upstairs. You got to program them. You got to make them think this is moral order. But the second you get a critical mass of rebels who don't think this is moral order, that's when the change is really come. And indeed, I'm gonna get into change agents in my next episode. So think about what I'm saying, all right? And I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.